We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. Hello. My name is Cheld. My pronouns are they, them. And this is Phasecraft Collective, your weekly check-in with the tarot to get the vibes, see what's possible, what is going on with the energy of the collective, of the world, of ourselves. Boy, oh boy, is it a kind of big week. We had Saturn Station Direct last Friday, which is delightful. And Saturn retrograde doesn't necessarily make anything bad happen. It just really causes us to reflect and regroup and, get our shit in order, because otherwise it will be blown up in our faces. And Saturn Direct just makes it a little bit easier to get things done, to get things moving, to, stick to structures, stick to goals, all the good stuff that Saturn can help us out with. On Tuesday, Pluto moves from Capricorn into Aquarius, and I am not an astrologer. I know more than the average bear. But what I will caution you against is anything that you see online about this being the age of Aquarius, or pointing out associations with past Pluto and Aquarius moments that don't take into account some of the modern differences of our world. There is a lot of hope around Pluto and Aquarius, I think, for a lot of us. And at the same time, the digital, online technological landscape is so something else right now, to the point that Pluto and Aquarius, as much as we want it to be this big revolution for good, it could very, very easily advance things that are actually detrimental to the average everyday person. So whenever you're engaging with any online spiritual content at all, always just keep your eye out. Make sure that there is nuance in the conversation. Make sure that there's no spiritual bypassing happening when people ask questions or point out issues or nuance. And just, be smart, including with me, right? Ask me a question if you have one. If I say something that you're that doesn't make any sense and you're not smart, then great, let's talk about it. Anyway, so that's the energy happening. I know I just keep shuffling, and it's kind of a nervous tick for me at this point. I'm leaving my door open because my cats have been trying to get me to feed them for the past hour, even though their dinner time isn't for a while. Which means we will be blessed by cat noises. You may already hear Kirby having the time of his life. And I just really felt that was a needed, maybe moment to smile for people. Who doesn't love to hear a cat just talking in the background, in my opinion? So just know that you may hear a cat, you may see a cat at any point during our time together. Before we dive in, I just want to mention that year ahead readings are officially open. I'm doing written ones. You get this beautiful PDF with a breakdown of your personal card of the year, the collective card of the year, your soul card, your personality card, and how they can all work together. Kirby is bringing his fish to me. Oh, Kirby, you dropped it! I thought he was going to bring me his fish, but he dropped it. Nothing else? Okay. So you can get your written PDF, or you can get a 30-minute year ahead reading, or you can get a 60-minute year ahead reading. The 60-minute is the most in-depth. We go month by month and then do seasonal overviews. The PDF, the written version, will give you a tarot card and an oracle card for each season that I then also talk about in conjunction with all of the like yearly overview and collective cards that we have. The 30-minute version goes, we talk about, your card of the year, collective card of the year, soul card, and then we talk about, we draw a card for each season with an oracle card usually. Yeah, they're fun. I love doing year ahead readings. I talk about them. They are probably like the most straight up predictive offering I have, but I don't necessarily think of them as a space where I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen in every month of the year of 2025. More like a look at what energy will be available to help you make plans and decide, when you want to do things throughout the year. Though I will say I have a few clients who will message me throughout the year being like, oh my God, the thing that you said was going to happen in October happened. And so, I'm just putting that out there. In addition, as always, I have, emailed readings, if that would be helpful to you. And we only have a couple weeks left to sign up for Phasecraft before the last session of Phasecraft happens. I do believe Phasecraft is going to look slightly different in 2025. I don't know exactly how yet, but it may be slightly expanded, which means that the cost would go up in 2025. I'm potentially looking at pulling it to like a longer session with a little bit more detail and a little bit more personal one-on-one help. But again, that would make the cost go up. So this is probably your last chance to get Phasecraft as it is right now, a 4-week introductory course with 3-tiered pricing. All the info, as always, is in the episode description. This is maybe the longest intro I've ever done, in part because of Kirby. Thank you, Kirby. But let's go ahead and get grounded and get started. Yeah? So I am going to close my eyes, and I invite you to do the same if it feels safe and good to do so. And just take a couple of breaths, feeling your body coming into this moment. Feel your shoulders rising and falling, your rib cage expanding and softening. And start to feel wherever you're making contact with the ground, letting your focus settle in that point of contact. Feeling gravity holding you and the earth supporting you. Whether it be your feet on the floor, your seat on a chair, your back on a bed. And just feel the weight of your body sinking into that place. And I'll call to the spirits and guardians of the elements here, and as I name them, I invite you to imagine their force, their essence, creating a circle of protection around you. You might see a ring of salt or fire or stones or mushrooms. You might see the ground opening up and filling with water. You might see any combination of these or something else altogether that comes to mind when I start to call to the elements. I call to the spirits and guardians of the north, of earth, of the deepest roots and the tallest trees, of the stardust that gave shape to this planet and to our bones. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the east, of air, of wind and breath, of thought and change. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the south, of fire, of the life-giving sun, the powers of creation and destruction, cleansing and renewal. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the west, of water, of the oceans and our blood, the rivers and our sweat, the rain and our tears. Hail and welcome. We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. And our journey in the spirit of autonomy through transformation begins now. The circle is cast, and so it is. You can take a couple more breaths if you'd like, and whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes. Cool. All right. Let's see what the vibes are. The vibes are vibing, definitely. They're very much vibing. We're starting right away with the Prince or Knight of Wands, which feels like a call to action if there ever has been one before. Holy crap. I'm going to try to prevent these all from, flying off the table as they like to do. Okay, yeah, we've got the Prince of Wands and the Chariot so far. So there's like a lot of that, like taking action, but not just like, there's a lot of change with these cards. We also had Judgment come out so far. So already the vibe is like, okay, that was a really big group. And it's all real. It's all real. Okay, Princess of Wands or Page of Wands also came out. Is this everything? I just looked up and saw my son Angus across the way. Hi, Angus. What do you think? Okay, that's our final card. Yeah, okay, so as I already mentioned, we have the Prince of Wands, Judgment, and the Chariot. So, not only is it forward moving, like this is the time to take action, I really want you to think about taking action in a, like, preparedness, right? And I mean, like, I don't want to get into, like, doomsday prepper territory. And now is not the worst time to consider the things that you need to do to make sure your momentum does not wane in the next couple of months. How can you make sure that you have what you need to keep your fire lit and to help propel your communities and your, relationships and support everyone with this fire, right? And we have Judgment, the card of collective liberation, the card of if I go, we all go, the card of facing what is not only not serving or not effective, but what is actively doing harm, or the ways that we ourselves have actively perpetuated harm. Reckoning with that. And then doing what we can to repair and fix and strengthen the networks, the roads, the ties that we have to move forward without barriers. Deciding to make changes is the most effective way to start doing it. Instead of thinking, someday I hope to do these things, deciding today is the day that I start. And just like looking at the different ways that could look like. You don't have to go from 0 to 60 in one day. right? There are slow and small ways that you can start to build up your actions, your protections, your activism, your active advocacy. The Prince of Swords or the Knight of Swords is also here. So the energy of speaking up, of speaking out in service of truth and what is right is so very much here. I think I said the same thing last week. Now is not the time to be silent. Now is not the time to be complicit. Now is the time to be louder and more open and more visible than ever before. The phrase "do not comply in advance" has been circulating a lot in online spaces. It is a direct reference to the book On Tyranny, which I am totally blanking on the author at the moment. But we should all read that book as a way to kind of prepare ourselves for what might be coming for us. Anyway, from that energy, Angus is now up on a very tall shelf. So that's why I keep looking over to the side over here to make sure he does not hurt himself, because he's not the smartest of cats. So I really like this energy. We have the King of Cups. We have the Ace of Wands, the Four of Swords. The Hermit is also here a little bit later. But I actually want to talk about the King of Cups and the Six of Pentacles here. Because the King of Cups speaks to leading from a place of like compassion and vulnerability and support and creativity. This is the energy of a leader who isn't afraid to show themselves fully, because they know that there is power in being true to your emotions, right? This is also like emotional intelligence at its like peak. So this is a reminder to know ourselves, to practice emotional regulation in a way that allows us to both protect ourselves and be able to hold space for others. And I bring out the Six of Pentacles because this is a card that also speaks to power dynamics. It is often referred to as a card of like mutual aid, of give and take, but in the older artwork, it usually has, like the Rider-Waite, it usually has like a lord handing out money to the poor. And there is oh, hold on. Hey, bud. Hey, how'd you do that? Okay. Pause. Because this little dude, I looked up and he was literally climbing the wall. He was holding onto a nail that's holding a tapestry up in place. Yeah, that was scary. Okay. Anyway, distractions aside. So there is that energy with the Six of Pentacles of where help is coming from, and are you willing to, how can you accept help maybe from not the most ideal places and then turn that into fuel for what you want to be doing, fuel for resistance. It's like some people refuse to take donations from, places that don't fully align with their values, right? Others say, yes, give me your money, and here's what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to donate it to this organization that you disagree with. I'm going to give it directly to my unhoused neighbors. I'm going to donate it directly to a Black trans women's mutual aid fund, right? So being intelligent and strategic with how you distribute resources, whether they be material, whether they be emotional, starting to think about how you can create sustainable networks of resource. Again, for yourself, for your immediate communities, like this is as simple as making sure you get to know your neighbors, the people that live in your building, the people that live around you, the people that, live down the block from you. and starting to create those support networks so that when one of you is struggling, someone else has your back. And yes, online communities can be very, very, very helpful, but in-person connection is also important if you can do it. Sometimes we are not in a place where it is actually safe for us to do that. In that case, online is great. I do most of my connecting online because I don't like to leave my house. With that being said, so I'm going to come back here to the Four of Swords. We have the Four of Swords framed by the Princess or Page of Wands and the Ace of Wands. And both of these energies are curiosity, are beginning to, again, seek action, seek outlets for creativity, seek new ways of trying and being and expanding. And as you do that, ensuring that you take time for rest and recovery. And being kind enough to yourself to know that taking a step back does not mean quitting. It means giving the thing space to grow, to breathe, to evolve. Giving yourself space to grow, to breathe, and to evolve. We end here. Yes, Angus, you're very sweet. We end here with the Hermit. Saturn, the card of the year for 2025. This is like, I know I've talked about this before, but taking the time now to focus on figuring out who you are and what you want and what you're willing to do, so that when the time comes to be out and be available and be in relationship, you are gravitating towards and pulling towards you people who align with your vision and your values. And again, there's a little bit of rest to this card too. There's a little bit of structure to this card. To giving yourself the space to rest, carving out time, scheduling self-care, scheduling time to be alone, to recuperate. All of that is good and valid and should be a part of your practice before we move into the scariest of scary times in our lives. Okay. Bottom of the deck. Queen of Wands. Wands showed up for us big time. And I love the Queen of Wands as the underlying reminder that if you choose to show up fully in your power, and again, not to hide, not to comply in advance, not to dim yourself for anyone or anything or any entity, that is how we keep hope alive, we keep ourselves alive, and how we fight, how we hold our power. Because don't give your power away. It's yours. Keep it. Okay. That felt really good. That made me hopeful. And I personally, and I know a lot of you, could use a little bit of hope right now. So, let's go ahead and close out and then go on our merry ways. I'm going to close my eyes again, and I invite you to do the same. Take a couple of breaths. Come back into your body. Come back into that point of contact with the ground. Reimagine your elemental circle around you. Salt, stone, water, fire, air. Take a big deep breath in. And as you exhale through your mouth, release your circle. Sending fire into extinguish. scattering salt, watching water, stone, plant sink back into the earth. I release the spirits and guardians of the west, the south, the east, and the north, sending you back to your place in the natural order with praise and with gratitude. I send your energy back to you, watching, listening, whole, complete, and intact. I take my energy back to myself, whole, complete, and intact. May we remain friends, though our energies are no longer crossed, corded, or tangled at all, starting now. Take a breath. Feel your energy settle into you, all yours. The circle is open, and so it is. And here's Kirby. Hi, Kirby. He wanted to say hello. All right, my friends. I'm going to leave you here. Everything I talked about at the beginning, all the links, everything you need is in the episode description. And if you need anything, if you have questions, if you need support and you don't know what to do, please reach out. Send me an email, send me a DM. I have some connection to some support services that I can try to help link you to. And yeah, so just reach out and we'll do what we can to help each other. Can you say bye, Kirby? He says bye. I'll see you next week.